Even compared to my usual videos, this one's going to be incredibly petty on a very niche topic, so warning in advance. I don't trust drawing tablet reviews, and I'm not the only one who doesn't trust them. There's definitely a lot of reasons to distrust them. The overwhelming amount of reviews where they're sponsored or just given the tablet to review, which is a real red flag. But my own personal reasons for not trusting them come from my own financial injury. You see, years ago I bought myself a new drawing tablet because I needed a replacement. And all of the reviews of the one I chose were positive. Everyone loved it. And I thought that must be the one to get, so I did. And it was an abysmal device. It was a terrible device. It was the XP Pen Innovator 16. But don't take my word for it.
Take my word for it. Hi, I'm a guy on the internet, and this is the XP Pen Innovator 16. It's terrible. It was marketed as having a laminate screen, which is true. It does have a laminate screen. It means that there is not much of a gap between the very surface of the tablet that the pen touches and the screen with the image underneath it. But having that implies that it's accurate enough to warrant it. Having that implies that when you put the pen down on the surface, that the cursor is right underneath the pen tip. But it isn't. It suffers from the problem that older or cheaper tablets all suffer from, which is that it's only accurate if you use it at the angle of the pen that you calibrated it with, which means that if you tilt the pen at any other angle or turn it, it stops being accurate. And when you draw, or at least when I draw, my hand naturally moves, which is good. And what you want to do, since it can actually hurt your wrist if you draw for a long time while holding your hand in the same angle. But this tablet can't cope with that, at least not well, which is a thing that I would like to have known before I bought it, because like I said, a laminate screen implies that that's not an issue or less of one. But it is an issue, and reviews should have mentioned it, because that's a thing some people are gonna care about, and this tablet very much implies that it is not an issue. Even worse, it has awful pen pressure. It claims to have 8,192 levels of pen pressure, which technically it does. But saying it has 8,000 levels of pressure implies it is as good as other tablets with 8,000 levels of pressure. But it isn't. It's not even close. It's about as good as the Surface Pro 3 I used to use, which had 256 levels of pressure. And just so we all know, pressure is just sensed by the tablet by having the pen vary its magnetic field based on how much the tip is pressed on. And the tablet picks it up based on detecting that changed magnetic field and coming up with a value. And it just comes up with a value between a range, a min and a max. It just comes up with a value. So it could be 65,536 for all the good it would do. It doesn't actually make the pressure any better. Making it bigger doesn't make it better. It only needs to be a big enough range of values so that the device's accuracy isn't compromised by that value. So 8,000 levels of pressure is just something that the manufacturers about this tablet said to imply that it's better than it is, which it's not. It takes too much pressure to start drawing with a pen, and then almost immediately after that, it's maxed out. There's no wide range of pressure. It's a very small range of pressure. The number doesn't matter. That's just a big number to represent a tiny, pathetic range of pressure with just a too big number. That's the same number as a much better pen, the Wacom Pro Pen 2. That's an incredible pen for pressure. Probably the best of it. Actually, is the best I've ever used. And this is not even close. Now, I don't expect this cheaper tablet to be as good as the other pen tablets, but I at least expect it to not be completely abysmal as it was. And it was certainly promoted as being much better than it was by everyone. Another issue, something that's not an issue for me but might be for you, it's advertised to have pen tilt detection. That is to say, it knows how much the pen is tilted and in what direction, up to 60 degrees. And that tilt feature detection is unreliable, inconsistent, and glitchy, which I don't care about. I never use tilt, but if you cared about it and you saw reviews, saw the specs, saw it had tilt, and wanted to use that tilt, you would want it to work. But it doesn't. It often will just draw a line as if the pencil is pointed straight up, even when it's angled, or halfway through a line will catch up with the tilt that you were actually doing. The angle of tilt will often just stuff up and change direction mid-stroke for no reason. It's not laggy tilt. That's giving it too much credit. I've heard it called laggy tilt, but it's not. It's just bad. And because the pen also doesn't compensate for its tilt, probably because it can't, because it doesn't actually have a proper tilt feature, it means when the pen is tilted, as I said before, now it's inaccurate because it's calibrated for a certain tilt and now you're changing the tilt. It's just another bag on the garbage fire of this tablet. So if you saw the advertising and the reviews and you bought this tablet to use the promoted tilt feature, you've just bought yourself some garbage e-waste. If it was marketed honestly, for all of these problems, if it was marketed honestly, all those things I said would not have been non-issues or lesser issues. Like, you would know what you were getting into. I've used tablets myself before this that had, kind of crappy accuracy and pressure, like a Surface Pro 3. I use that for years. And you can compensate for the pen pressure by changing the pressure to be in like the curve in the drivers to have no high-end pressure and make it all low-end pressure, which is what I did. And if you didn't want to use tilt, that wouldn't have been an issue either. But the deal breaker, it's flimsy. It's prone to breaking. I got footage of me trying to do some reviews of it with the tablet and the screen glitching out. Sometimes just moving it a little bit will make it turn off. It's not like I took it anywhere or dropped it or anything. It stayed on a desk safely, and yet it still started to break. Today it's working pretty good, but usually it's worse than this. I saw posts online about how bad this tablet was, how fragile it was breaking from just random strangers, but no reviewers. And it was advertised as being thin and sleek and something you could put in a bag and take with you everywhere you went. But if you did that, it would just break. So, to summarize, every basic tablet feature on this tablet is either mediocre or just plain awful, and all of it was misleadingly promoted. It's a bad tablet, and every single review should have been negative. Back to you, Raven.
Thanks, Peter. Guy who is not me and nothing like me. So it's a mediocre tablet. Something probably not worth making a video about or even mentioning, except for all of the praise it got at the time, and the fact I bought it, of course. They even, according to the Australian store at the time of writing, won an award for it from a group that I bet you haven't heard of, called Red Dot. This is the Australian store. They don't mention this award elsewhere that I can find, but they clearly show the tablet on an image with Winner 2020 proudly displayed. But the link to more details about that award is a dead page, so I manually go to the root folder of that website, which has an expired security certificate. So clearly no one cares about maintaining this site, which I ignore, and it greets me with a suspicious QR code, which you shouldn't scan, but I did. And it led to this shady link, which just redirects to the WeChat app, which I think is a Chinese chat app, so I couldn't go any further there. So I looked elsewhere, and I found a page of the Red Dot group who runs that award. It's called the Contemporary Good Design Award, hosted by Red Dot, which has a page which is not at all similar to the links on the store page, because it appears to be a different award hosted by the same group. But unlike the link on XPPen's website would imply, and the link to the Chinese chat app WeChat, Red Dot is a German award with a different logo. But it is the same group for both, because as on the German's website, I found a page dedicated to calling for entries to this 2020 award with the same logo shown on the XPPen web store, the one the innovator supposedly won. Of course, that also points to the same website that's totally down, and the Internet Archive doesn't have a version of this website for that time, and the list of winners on there is not archived. So I can't find out about this particular version of the award, though it just seems to be a design award separate to the main one, but from the same group. So I can only assume that the innovator did indeed win an award from this group that someone or something has gone and erased all trace of. Best I can do is look at their main awards and extrapolate from there what kind of award it might have been based on the numbers. There are 23,576 awards displayed on the Red Dot website, and they've been around for about 70 years. Which, after doing some incredibly complex mathematics, makes about 393 products a year that win this prestigious and very selective award. Though they may have sped up significantly in recent times, this year already, 2024, has 2,253 awards. But if I search for the 2020 year that this tablet was supposed to have an award from, there were 1,709 products that year for the Product Design Award. None of them by XPPen, none of them by their parent company Hands-On UG, and none of them by their other company Zens Labs. It's also not on the Red Dot's YouTube channel or anywhere else for that matter. The only Red Dot award I see them win was a screenless tablet in 2019, but that's it. So unfortunately this award has been erased from existence. If it was a real award, and looking at the website with thousands of award winners a year makes me think it probably did win an award, since it seems like everyone can win this award, giving this mediocre tablet an award for design in 2020 is like if they gave a design award to the iPhone 15. It's exactly like it, actually, because they gave the iPhone 15 a design award this year. They also gave the iPhone 15 Pro a separate award. An incremental upgrade on the previous models so good, they awarded them twice. And that's stupid enough, really. It's definitely some tech award BS. But it's also very weird because they only give out awards to customers who apply for and pay for it. So why would Apple, company you'll know the products of and see every day, sign up to this award even if it were free? An award no one I've met has ever heard of. Apple doesn't brag about this award. In fact, they say nothing about it from what I can tell. I don't even know if they know about this award. And according to this article about the award, which questions the award a bit itself, it costs up to €450 just to apply, which is something like 700 Australian dollars. And that was in 2017. Fees run up to €450 per application. And if an applicant wins an award, there's another mandatory cost of between €3,400 and €6,000. But it's okay though, what a steal. It includes marketing and presentation by Red Dot. Why would Apple pay for that marketing and presentation? It's not like someone's going to be on the fence about buying an iPhone until they hear it won a Red Dot award. Screw it. Give the AirPods an award too. Apple could do with the exposure, apparently. It's not doing anything for Apple. Maybe this is just for the careers of the designers who get awards, whose names are not on the website. It must be great for their careers. And with so many winners, is it even really that promotional for them? And of course there are heaps of winners. The winners have to pay extra for winning. Red Dot is financially incentivized to give as many awards out as possible. No wonder there are already over 2,000 awards this year alone. So why did XP put this Red Dot award on their store? Why did they apply for it and pay for that marketing and presentation? Because it's one more thing that sounds good without actually having to be good. Just like the laminate screen, which doesn't improve the device at all. Just like the 8,000 levels of pressure, which doesn't indicate a good range of pressure. Just like the tilt ability, which doesn't work. The award is listed on this site because it is one more thing they say to you to make you believe that it is a good and worthwhile product. It's award winning, even though it's BS. I'm surprised they haven't just listed all of their positive YouTube reviews they've bought. So here, I'll do it for them. Nadia Zell. The tablet was provided for the review. Honest review was in the title, which means you know it's honest. Tio Yi Chi got it for free for the review, but I had to look in the text review in another website to see that. Piper's Art explicitly stated they were sponsored by XP, whatever that means. Anna's Animations, TB Sky and Trent Caniyuga, Alexander De Boyne, Apple Cheeks, Sparkly Goop, Boris CG, all were provided review versions of the tablet. KK Umri make use of Mikey Mega Mega Likelihood Art provided the tablet with an extra provided for a giveaway. And of course, the internet sweetheart, the one that hurts the most, the video that made me buy this thing, Lavender Town, given the tablet free for review and said it was a favourite tablet, which is insane because she uses these things for a living. It's her career and she thinks it was good. And at first I thought, wow, what a sellout. But she used it for ages. She only switched to another one when they gave her another one later on. Does she not know that it's terrible? Has she never used anything better? Is this like Rock Lee and Naruto, where she's been training and fighting and drawing this entire time with heavy weights on, and one day she'll drop them and can finally unleash her true power and make works of art so beautiful we'll all be brought to our knees weeping? I never watched Naruto that far. I'm told that's a very funny reference. She wasn't the only one who appears to genuinely like it either. There was a review by Brad Colbo, who at no point said he was provided the tablet, and since he appears to say when he is given tablets for review, this leads me to believe he bought it himself, and he too likes this garbage. This is what really threw off any of the theories I had developed about how this all happened. I initially just assumed they must have all been paid off. But a later video by that same guy about another XP Pen tablet, which he was provided, was very negative, which means that I went from thinking this guy was just pretending the first one was good to thinking, no, he really thought it was good. I believe him to be honest in the review of the later tablet, so it might also be true he was honest in the first review. I don't know what to believe about it. Science has no explanation. I'm left to baselessly speculate. Though I don't know what's worse, that you'd praise that really truly terrible piece of e-waste for the money, or actually think it's good. Reviewing this and not spotting how misleading every aspect of its advertising was, even contributing to it yourself, picking up the pen and not expressing how cheap and nasty it feels to use, not relating how unpleasant and janky every aspect of it was, even for the time. This was not a good device. It's like none of these people have any business reviewing tablets. Feels like they're still reviewing tablets like it's 10 plus years ago and this is what they're like, which they're not. Certainly not in 2020 either. It's ridiculous to review products they're so unqualified to review. It'd be like if I reviewed Boys Love webcomics. Tablet reviews are essentially the same this day as they've always been. The devices might be different, but the expectations are the same on everything except size and resolution. Besides that, they're doing the same things. They spend far too long opening a box and cooing over the tat that comes in it. Oh look, it comes with a power cable. They go on about the brand. They go on about how are they a competitor to Wacom now? They go on a bunch of selling points, draw some lines on a screen, make some vague comments about a really minor downside where they point out things that don't really matter, that it doesn't do well, that you could forgive easily, like the little bit of lag or minor wiggle in a straight line, like they're at a job interview and asked for their weakness, so they gave out one that doesn't hurt their chances. Then they get to the end of all that, recommend the tablet, and call it a day. Sometimes they even show a proper downside and still recommend it, such as the Borrow CG video where he demonstrated in detail, good detail, the issue with the tilt not working, but still in the end recommended the tablet as a solid device, which, how could it be?
A pretty solid device with some minor issues in the pen performance.
You literally just demonstrated what they do. They have a selling point, it's technically true, but it's not really true. And then you say it's a great device? Now, yeah, I admit, I don't have any of the newer devices, so I can't test out the accuracy of the new reviews, but I'm skeptical of them. There are so many videos already promoting that new XP Pen device with the 16,000 levels of pressure. They're promoting that XP Pen selling point. Just search XP Pen 16K and scroll. They're just convincing me even more they're full of crap. They're gullible. That's just a big number to make you think that it's better, when it's really not. It's just one more bit of computer data. They're taking this probably the same accuracy, or maybe slightly better, and just simply multiplying that number by 2. That's essentially what that is. It doesn't really make a difference. It's just the number the tablet comes up with to represent how much the pen tip is pushed. It just needs to be big enough. 16,000 is marketing rubbish. Anyone who knows anything about these devices will tell you that, except for all these morons doing reviews apparently. But does the pen tip match the cursor now? Does it match the cursor even when it's tilted? Is the pen tilt functional? Is the pressure range any good? I don't know, and I'm not willing to shell out any money to test these devices. Now, I didn't make this video just to accuse a bunch of people of being sellouts or terrible at their jobs. I am doing that though, and I can already sense some obvious criticisms about that. But I don't care, I'm bitter and I hold a grudge. The raison d'etre of this video is that I went looking at tablet reviews to find a tablet for my girlfriend to get. A smaller one, less bulky ideally than the Cintiq. And I remembered my previous bad, terrible, no good tablet that annoyed me because of how much I spent on it and how awful it was. So I looked up reviews of it, the hypothesis being I would want to get my tablet reviews from someone who accurately represented this tablet for how bad it was, so I knew I could trust them, and I didn't find anyone. So you might say, okay, you can't trust the reviews, so why not just get another Wacom, just like the one I've already got? Well, I like the one I have, the Cintiq, but I don't know if I'm going to like all of them, certainly not the smaller ones. How can I tell? What about the cheaper ones, like the Wacom One, a tablet with a name so bad? I can't help but wonder if they consulted with Microsoft to name it. What am I giving up to have that cheaper tablet? I couldn't tell you. What about their new thin 13-inch OLED tablet? Is it as well built as the Cintiq, or will that thing break after a year of light use? Or, as in the case of the Innovator, a few months? I don't know, because reviews on it don't have any way to tell me. They only use it for such a brief time and rush out a review before any problems might emerge. And even if they did spot problems, they just gloss over any of the issues they spot anyway. Just because it's a Wacom doesn't mean it's good. Some people have issues with their Wacom. Some models are not as good as others. Will their cheaper models be any good? Sometimes expensive things are better. Think of the Sam Vimes boots theory of socio-economic unfairness. You buy cheap boots, they aren't as good. They let the water in and you have to replace them often. But if you get better boots that cost more, they last longer and you spend less money in the long run because you replace them less. So, are tablets like a Cintiq actually more expensive? Or is replacing your dodgy, flimsy, inaccurate, poorly made pen tablets more expensive in the long run? I did say this was a petty video.